Welcome to the University of Wolverhampton Skills and Learning Development Team Guide to Using Your Reading List. The aims of this guide are to help you identify ways of making your reading more efficient and enabling you to manage your time better. Also, to understand the importance of critically evaluating text and to be able to understand the importance of note-taking. Your reading list is there to be used. Text will give you an entry point into the basic concepts, theories and arguments that inform your subject and are specifically chosen by your lecturers. There will be essential text that you should identify and familiarise yourself with, but it is unlikely that you'll have enough time to read everything on your list. The trick is to be strategic. Remember that your reading list is an introduction to the subject. Your lecturer will be expecting you to go beyond that list and do your own research and background reading. They will be expecting a wide breadth of references in your work, so you'll need to be reading both books, journal articles, and relevant websites. You'll be expected to select credible, current texts at an appropriate academic level, so a degree of critical evaluation will be expected from you when choosing text both to read and cite in your work. With any academic assignment, you need to know exactly what it is you're being asked to do before you begin your background research and reading. You need to be able to read with a purpose. So read your assignment brief. What are you being asked to do? What is the subject and focus of the assignment? Think about the type of information you might need to support your arguments. Information on concepts or theories, case studies, statistics or legislation. So, where to find information? Well, reference items such as encyclopedias will be great for short summaries and facts and figures. Books will be the building blocks of your assignment. They provide an introduction to the concepts, theories and arguments that make up your subject. Journals are published on a far more frequent basis than books and are where new research first appears and is peer-reviewed by other academics in your field. They are subject-specific and very detailed. Although you must be wary of what information you choose to read on the internet, mailing lists, discussion groups and social media are great ways of keeping up to date with developments in your field. Once you start researching an assignment, you'll find that you identify a large number of texts that look as if they might be relevant. You probably won't have time to sit down and read them all from cover to cover, so there are a number of reading techniques you can adopt to make the process easier. Scanning. Initially look at the table of contents, chapter headings, summaries and abstracts for an overview of the content. Read with a purpose. Ask yourself, how is this information going to help you answer the question that you've been set? When looking at a journal article, there are a few useful tips to remember. Initially you can read the abstract for a brief summary of the article. This will help you decide if the article is relevant and whether to read it or not. Also take a look at the keywords used to catalogue the article. They could provide you with useful search terms that you might not yet have thought of. Don't forget that if the article is useful, then make sure to take a look at their reference list and see what they've been reading. You may find some useful books and articles that you haven't yet come across. Once you've scanned the text and identified useful chapters or sections, then skim the text to gain a basic understanding of what it's about. Look for headings, keywords or illustrations relevant to the assignment question that you're trying to answer. You can usually get a good idea of what the text is about by skimming the first and last sentence of each paragraph. Skim text to pick out key sentences and headings. If you're working from a photocopy, then highlight or underline important passages or keywords. In-depth reading. So even though skim reading and scanning are very important techniques, you will also be expected to read text thoroughly for detail. So a great technique to help you become a better reader is the SQ3R technique. So, survey. Look over material critically. Skim through the text to get a general idea of what the text is about and help you to decide whether it's of any use to you. Question. Can this text help me? Does it give me any useful information I can use? Asking questions will help you to stay focused on your subject. Read. Make a more careful and detailed reading of the text. Still try to remain focused on your reason for reading it. Make notes of any key or significant points. Recite. Put the text in your notes to one side and try to remember the information you've read. Make a note of any points that you're still uncertain about. Review. Reread the text to check your understanding and seek clarification of the points that you're uncertain about. A reading strategy like SQ3R will help you become a more active reader. It allows you to engage with text in a way that's beneficial to you. Critical reading is a detailed reading of a text. You'll need to analyse, question and evaluate what you're reading. Ask yourself, is this primary or secondary data? If you're looking at newspaper articles that are referencing surveys or journal articles, etc., it might be more appropriate for you to track down the original text and be able to corroborate their findings and make your own mind up. What is the author trying to convince you of, and how do they do it? What points do they make, and how do they back them up? If they use evidence to back up their points, can you track down that material yourself and corroborate the findings? How can you use this information in your assignment? How will you use it to answer the question that you've been set? If you'd like to learn more about critical thinking, then watch our short introduction on YouTube or come along to one of our workshops. So why take notes? Well, they'll enable you to create a record for future reference. It'll also help when writing assignments, so brainstorming ideas, getting started, and then being able to organise and structure them before actually beginning writing. Making notes will not only help you better remember information, it'll also help you understand it in greater detail. Don't forget to keep your notes well organised and keep a record of the sources that you've been looking at. There are a number of different ways of taking notes, so try a few out and see what works best for you. So firstly, we've got linear notes, which are a series of bulleted or numbered points. Cornell notes, in which you divide your page into 3 sections as illustrated. And table notes, which are very useful if you're comparing or contrasting different sources. Mind maps are a great way to visualise information, identifying main points and making links and connections between them. They are especially useful to plan out an assignment before you start writing it. Remember to always record the source of your notes, including the author, title, date, publisher and place of publication. You may need this information for your references, and it will also help you avoid accidental plagiarism. So don't forget, if you intend to use direct quotes, remember to make a note of the page number that you've taken them from. So to summarise, read your assignment criteria, understand what your assignment question is asking you to do, and the type of information you may need to answer that question. Use your reading list to identify text relevant to the assignment question, but don't forget to read widely and move beyond that list. Survey, skim and read in depth. Be strategic about your reading. How can the text at hand help you answer your specific question? And don't forget to make organised notes to aid you when planning and writing your assignment and revising for later exams. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to find out more, then you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter and watch us on YouTube, or visit us at www.wlv.ac.uk/skills.